investors kind of will pick up on the cultural change and the better storyline in terms of that this is a better run company.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Jamie Strauss, the founder and CEO of Digbee, as well as Tim Clark, the CEO of Fury Gold Mines. Gents, very good to speak with you both today. And Tim, I'm going to start with you. To what extent has the third Digbee assessment helped Fury Gold Mines, both strategically and with regard to the engagement with different stakeholders?
I think the first time we sat down with Digbee, it was a lot of more sort of basic, practical operation stuff, and now we're getting into a more focus on communities and communication. We're moving along in our progress, and what's becoming more and more important is our relationships with like the indigenous communities. And we've put this ESG stuff and with Digbee at a pretty forefront, both not only in our reviews of ourselves and our goals that we set as management and board members, but also as part of our strategy. We've cleaned things up and we've become much more active and aware. And I think our rating moving up is reflected that, and it's been a good part of what we do.
Following on from the assessment, what goals have you set for the next 12 months? And how do you see these adding value from the perspective of investors, communities, and other stakeholders?
Well, we want to continue to do what we're doing and take it to the next level with these relationships. Plus, we've also focused on, for example, composition of the board. We've added a woman to the board. We now have 33%. We'd like to move that target higher. And I think in all the things that we have related to ESG, it's always incrementally improving. Other things we're focused on is doing more active ESG education. When we first got started, it was hard to focus. There's a lot of things going on, but as we've tightened up the ship, and as Jamie pointed out, the story itself, as we present it, and even if you look at our pitch book, it's all tightening up in all these different areas, and having a metric like Digbee kind of pointing these things out, is really helpful. I think most investors kind of will pick up on the cultural change and the better storyline in terms of that this is a better run company.
Jamie, the landscape of sustainability continues to evolve rapidly. How do you see companies such as Fury Gold Mines differentiating themselves, taking advantage of their efforts to improve transparency and set out a journey of continuous improvement?
Yeah, thanks very much. And I mean, I think Tim's final comment there, in terms of a better management, I mean, anybody can say they're a better management, but the reality is, what are they holding themselves to? And how can they be held accountable? And if you talk to any of the major stakeholders, whether or not it's communities, as Tim's talking to, investors, regulators, what are they all looking for? They're looking for lower risk, and they're looking for a progressive movement to ensure that the operations are operated or developed and ultimately explored in a responsible fashion. So management can hold themselves accountable. They have a metric with which they can play. They can then communicate that in a really credible way and talking to these investors, particularly some of the institutions which we're talking to on a global basis. In the responsible investment word comes out time and time again. And it's really helpful that companies such as Fury, as they move forward in their progression towards development, and as they do more and more joint ventures or consideration with other communities and other partners, they've got this metric with which they can communicate and therefore raise confidence and trust, and therefore go to that next difference and then have that differential between them and their peers.
Well, Tim, congratulations on completing that third assessment. Gents, thanks both very much for your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
That's Jamie Strauss, the founder and CEO of Digbee, as well as Tim Clark, the CEO of Fury Gold Mines.